We show you why Deku lost hope in the hero system and why he has given up on society and no longer strives to become the next symbol of peace. My Hero Academia chapter 317 review, Deku's dark path, here in Yunami. Also, only a small percentage of the people who watch our videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy the video, let's go! For all the My Hero Academia fans who are new to our channel, this is our first My Hero Academia video, and starting today, we will be reviewing the My Hero Academia chapters on a weekly and publishing theories on a regular basis. So, let's start the review. After the fight with Nagant, the heroes gathered and discussed further actions. We find out that despite her serious injuries, Nagant actually survived. The heroes thought of using One For All's secret to begin extensive investigations. This wouldn't make much of a difference in my opinion, as the heroes in general have lost their public reputation, and revealing such a big secret would only make things worse. In my opinion, the current public status of the heroes is completely biased. The majority of people turn against heroes with a mixture of frustration, blame and jealousy, but at the same time expect the heroes to do everything possible to protect the public as best they can. The media is even worse. Driven by greed for success, they make the situation worse by negatively affecting the public image of heroes, while completely ignoring the consequences of their actions. Because of this, more and more heroes are slowly giving up and quitting their jobs. Society completely ignores the dark time that emerged when the villain leader All For One returned and threatened everyone's life. And yet, for some reason, people prefer to be against the heroes. In addition, retired heroes start leaking information to the media, which makes it difficult for the remaining active heroes to operate in the background. In fact, it's so extreme that the media is slowly getting closer to the truth about Deku, which would be the worst case scenario. Any negative impact on society would be placed on Deku's shoulders, and that is the last thing Deku needs right now. He's already starting to change his personality. Such a huge additional negative influence could really be the end for our young hero. More on that in a moment. Fortunately, Deku has many friends and heroes who supports him. If the truth of Deku's quirk will be leaked, which is very likely to happen, all remaining active heroes will definitely support Deku and will be the pillar that will keep him from falling into a dark place. I just want to address something quickly. Many of you know that I only recently started the My Hero Academia manga. For me, Endeavor's character development is very emotional. I love to see him slowly reconciling with his family. This panel is so nice, because not so long ago, Shoto completely ignored Endeavor's messages, but now he's even calling him. I'm really glad it's getting better, but the whole Toya situation is really painful. On one hand, I wish that someone would save Toya, and all of his crimes be forgiven, so that the Todorokis could become a happy family. But at the same time, I know that he has committed too many crimes that cannot be forgiven. He has taken too many innocent lives for no good reason, and yet I feel so sorry for Toya. After all, he's just a very mentally disturbed person who is still seeking for his father's attention. He couldn't get it by fulfilling his father's dream, so now he is seeking for his attention by doing the exact opposite, even if it looks like hateful intent. I believe he's more hurt and sad than he wants to admit, and here's what I think. I don't think Toya is going to die evil. He will probably fighting alongside Shoto and Endeavor at some point. He will end up in jail or dead, that's for sure, but at least he could move on. Let me know in the comments if you think Toya will forgive his father, or if you believe that he will fight Endeavor until the very end. But back to the chapter, what's important here is why Shoto called his father. I have the feeling that the class 1A doesn't want to leave Deku alone. It goes completely against their personalities, especially Bakugo. When he finds out that Deku left to protect everyone, oh boy, he's the first one to leave the school looking for him. More on that in a moment. I think that the other class members will not just sit and wait, but rather try to do something to help Deku. And maybe Shoto called Endeavor because he wanted to ask about the current location and the overall situation, because everyone in 1A has already decided to leave school, so there would be no point in rejecting them. It really looks like 1A is looking for Deku right now. If you already enjoyed this review, subscribe with the notification bell activated. And if you enjoy our new My Hero Academia content, smash the like button. Show us your interest in this manga.
We then see that Deku had contact with the second assassin, whom he was able to defeat immediately. And let me just put this way, something is happening to Deku. Obviously, Deku doesn't become evil, that just goes too far, but there is something about him that gives a negative vibe. He reminds us a lot of the hero killer Stain, and maybe Deku is really understanding to doubt the hero society. I'm not saying he's going to be the next hero killer, but it seems he's starting to understand that being a hero doesn't have much to do with public reputation, interviews, hero rankings, money, agencies, or even following the rules. It seems like he's changing in such a way that he could become an anti-hero. By anti-hero, we mean a hero who works with his own rules and his own codex and understanding of justice without getting paid for it or expect any gratitude. Very similar to Batman. Not only does Deku seem to understand that something is wrong with the way heroes act, but also how ungrateful society is and how quickly everyone can just turn against those who have been protecting them for so many years. Deku seems to understand that the problem lies not only in the villains and the heroes, but in the entire humanity itself. All of this becomes more and more obvious when you look at how Deku treats All Might. We all still feel like he's doing this to protect All Might so he doesn't get into more trouble. But this idea and our hope that Deku is still the same kind-hearted person he once was may turn us on blindly seeing the truth that Deku may slowly lose hope in the hero system and society. Remember, this does not mean that Deku is starting to have evil intentions, but that he is dealing with evil in his own notion of justice, which he is literally doing right now. Everything we said about him is already happening. Despite the deal with the heroes, Deku slowly begins to act alone and to distance himself further from the heroes. Also, he no longer tries to appear hopeful, happy, and friendly as a symbol of peace should be, which means that he has also given up on the idea of becoming the symbol of peace and therefore the hope for society. The public describes him as calm and that he doesn't look like a hero. People even doubt that he's here to help. And who can blame them? As I've said, Deku no longer tries to be the symbol of peace, and that is very obvious when you just look at him. What is really worrying, however, is not just his lost hope in society and heroes, but the impact it all has on him and his personality. For Deku, the heroes were the most important thing in his life. To realize that his concept of being a hero was completely wrong, and to see how society turns against heroes, will automatically change his personality. If he really wants to keep All Might away from all this trouble, then he should know that this won't stop him. On the contrary, this will only make things worse. All Might will just worry even more because he may believe that Deku is now going in the wrong direction. Of course, such a personality change doesn't happen overnight. It is not wrong to say that Deku is still the kind-hearted hero, but it would be wrong to assume that Deku has no chance on walking the dark path if he continues like this. And all while the public has not even found out his secret. Imagine what will happen if the world starts to blame him for everything. We believe that the one who can really save Deku is not All Might or any other pro hero. At this point in time, Bakugo is probably the only one who can relieve Deku of his worries and stresses. Although Bakugo may seem very aggressive all the time, he has a very good sense of justice and knows very well what it means to be a hero. Bakugo is probably the only person who knows Deku the best, and most likely the person Deku respects the most. Deku knows very well that if Bakugo wants to accompany him and that he refuses his request, Bakugo would be extremely offended and would take it personally. So at this point, Bakugo is probably the only one Deku would accept, and we really hope to see them fight together soon. Bakugo can be the key to reconnecting Deku with his classmates and slowly finding the hope for working together again instead of going down this path alone. The most important thing for Deku at this moment is to get off this dark path and to regain hope as the symbol of peace. Without hope, Deku will not be able to defeat All for One. Then we see Stain, who was watching Deku and All Might. Stain never really wanted to support villains from the start. He wanted the heroes to fall and the public to see the truth behind the hero system. In a way, he wanted to change the world for the better. But at the same time, he is the cause of all troubles at this moment. Stain has already achieved his goal, and for him, there is no point in continuing to fight heroes. If he does, all his actions would be completely pointless and no one would take him seriously anymore. He would go from being a revolutionary who wanted to change the society to a mere villain. We believe that Stain will join the heroes in the war against All for One, but obviously his crimes will not be forgiven. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed our My Hero Academia chapter review. And if you like this video, make sure you smash the like button. And if you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell turned on. See you guys in the next video. Yami out.